Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. Let me turn up the sound real quick. There we go. We're playing Frost Death Knight. Frost Death Knight has gone through a lot of changes. This is in remembrance of Gore, who was in live streams for like ever, and then they fucked Death Knight, Frost Death Knight. Well, they fucked Death Knight pretty hard at the beginning of the expansion, but so pretty much Frost is really bad. At least was for a while. 8.0 I tried playing it just because I really liked Frost. Decided, you know, I'm not about this life. And now, I mean, it's gotten a few changes, I believe, but probably nothing too amazing. I'm gonna kill that battle standard. A lot of your damage does come from dots, which really doesn't make too much sense. A lot of your damage should be coming from Obliterate. But, you know, a lot of it's just auto attacks and dots, which, you know, it probably shouldn't be like that, in my opinion. In Legion, we, you know, our Obliterates kind of did something. Our Obliterates hit about as hard as a Frost Strike now. If they crit, I believe they can hit for, yeah, let's see, 4,000, so probably like 6,000, 7,000. The main thing I don't like about Frost is, it's kind of fantasy, is the fact that you're a hard-hitting, single target, pretty much killing machine. You're gonna run around with your two one-handers and just chop people up. And right now, the fantasy, I mean, that is a good fantasy, but the damage, the damage in, like, the actual abilities that do damage, it's all Frost Fever. It's all Frost Fever and auto attacks and Howling Blast. I think I did a Battleground earlier. I don't know when it was, but did a Battleground, checked my damage. I believe 60% of my damage was Frost Fever, which is the disease spell that we have. Auto attacks and Howling Blast. So that's that. If you're ever curious about, you know, what damage Frost Death Knights do, it's pretty much all this damage over time and auto attacks, and then Howling Blast. But I'll kind of showcase the damage at the end of the Battleground as well, just going over what's actually doing the damage. But personally, in my belief right now, with the current state of Frost Death Knights, I think our Obliterate and Frost Strike could get buffed by maybe like 20% to 15% around there. I mean, we are hitting, I don't know, that guy defensives, but it hit for about 2,000 there. I want to see, like, just what a non-critting Obliterate does, and I'm pretty sure it hits for, like, generally around the ballpark of about 5,000, which isn't horrible. This is, like, cooldowns on this guy as well. We'll trinket that. 5,000 crit on a male wearer with no cooldowns. So, yeah, also Frost Strike doesn't have a range now. In Legion, I'd say Frost Strike had like a pretty good range. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was a little bit of a range. And now it's just not really, yeah, 6,000 crits with Obliterate. And then I get 7,000 non-crits with Howling Blast. Of course it does proc quite often, but, okay. So we'll kind of do what I kind of want to show here. And it is the survivability and durability of the Frost with all the new kind of defensives. So we'll dot all these guys, because our dots do good damage. You'll see here, I mean, I'm just gonna slowly run away and die actually, but maybe I can kill this. Okay, lay on hands. Never mind. I was gonna say, maybe I can kill this guy. Not looking like it anymore. Dang. Anyway, go over the damage. Obliterate is really low. So, let's see. Overall, Obliterate is 16% of my damage. It's not bad. But, like I said earlier, Frost Fever, Attack, and Howling Blast make up 50% of my damage. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. Frost Fever and Howling Blast make up almost 40% of my damage. I just think they need to buff Obliterate. I think, like, the design's there. I just think the numbers aren't there. It was kind of, I don't know. It's been the case with so many classes this expansion as well. Like, the fantasy's there, the class design is there. Just the numbers, like, aren't correct. And maybe that's because there's not enough people testing. Why does this thing look sick? They had to remodel this. It used to look like shit, now it actually looks kind of decent. That means they probably remodeled the Swift Lovebird too. I don't know, maybe I'm fantasizing. Anyway, dots on everyone. Probably use some cooldowns here. Go on the healer. Kind of showcase the, I don't want to say cleave potential, but just the damage. Spread damage potential. Even Frost Death Knight, I don't want to say it does more AoE damage than a Unholy, because Unholies are pretty much known for the AoE damage, but the AoE damage from just Frost Fever and Howling Blast is not that bad. But you'll see anytime I just see like more than 2 people around me, I'll probably just Howling Blast, and that's just to get the debuff on everyone. The Frost Fever debuff, which is really, really good. And that's it. The rotation to Frost is like one of the most laughable rotations ever. It's actually just Obliterate and Howling Blast, and they're Moistus Winter every now and then. The one thing I do like a lot about Frost is the fact that there's almost no downtime in your rotation. I mean, there is downtime if you get really unlucky, and you just don't get any good procs or anything like that, but most of the time, if you just time out your Frost Strikes correctly and time your Runic Power spenders, you're not going to be very low on Runic Power at all most of the time. And I feel like I'm always in a surplus of, whatever it's just called, Runic Power. That's the thing. Just kind of showcase the survivability. And this is all just single target, you know, no healers, just trying to press Death Strike every now and then survivability. And the reason I'm getting so much Runic Power is because through one of my honor talents every time, not honor talents, through one of my talents every time I think it's auto attack, I have a chance to generate, I believe it's like, I think it's 3 Runic Power, which adds up over time. Right there. And these are my talents. Pretty much the idea behind this build is Remorseless Winter, just kind of sustaining damage outside of low runes. And that's through Icy Talons, which just increases auto attack damage, Frozen Pulse, which just increases your auto attack damage of a little bit more. It's right there. It obviously doesn't do much damage, but it's just added on top. And then Gathering Storm for Remorseless Winter damage. And yeah, we'll use cooldowns here. Hopefully this breaks. Don't think it will though. Unless I get Ignite damage on me. My cooldowns are just kind of wasted there. I'll throw a Frost Reaper on this guy, because that's what does most of my damage. Hits for 2,000 non-crits, which is pretty hefty. I think the Unholy Death Knight damage over time spell hits for about 100. Not 100, sorry, 1,000. 1,000 when it's not, you know, having its unique effects, because it has a chance to erupt for X amount of damage, which I have no clue how that works. It's just extra damage that I don't have to think about. It's a really nice blink. Blinked as soon as I death gripped. But yeah, look at that damage. Every 3 seconds does 1,829 damage, which is about as much as an auto attack. I'm just gonna mount. And going over honor talents, I mean, I don't think these are must-takes or anything. I take this. I'd say the one must-take is Transfusion, just because it generates Runic Power, and also gives you, whatever it's called. Gives you Runic Power. That's all you need to know. See how long we can live. Also, you know, it just gives you a ton of survivability. Ever since Transfusion came out, just Death Knight survivability's been crazy. The fact that we got the 10% damage in, 10% stamina increase along with a, you know, just 45-second cooldown heal, which you can heal for most of your health with, it is something, you know. That's the highest hitting Obliterate I think I've seen so far. You'll see a lot of my damage is just auto attacks. Every auto attack combo with both of my one-handers deals about, I don't know, it was doing 5,000 on that guy. On this guy it's doing a lot less. But they're still there. They're still present. And sadly, auto attack is really second in damage. And that's just kind of the thing with this build, because the auto attack decreased. Another thing I really like about Frost is the fact that cooldowns are up so often. I have a 45-second cooldown on Pillar of Frost, which pretty much gives me a ton of strength. Like, it just gives you a shit ton of strength. It matters how many runes you spend, however. But for I believe every rune you spend, you gain 1% strength, which is, like, it can be ridiculous. If you have a lot of strength procs, like Rune of the Fallen Crusader, which is your weapon enchant, if you have that, Pillar of Frost, and then, like, any on-use strength trinket, you're gonna just have a shit ton of strength. Because you'll have 15% strength in Rune of the Fallen Crusader. You'll have extra % strength from your Pillar of Frost. We'll just add another 15% on in the ballpark around there. And then, that plus whatever flat strength you get from your just normal trinket. Man, I'm not doing that. So in conclusion, I don't think Frost is that bad. I think our single target could be buffed a little bit. Obliterate and Frost Strike damage may be buffed by about 10%, and that would make me want to play Frost a little bit more. I think it really shines in the kind of high AoE situations where you can just train someone, and, you know, their team just doesn't focus you for some reason. We use cooldowns here, get stunned. Another cooldown that I don't really use a lot is Empowered Rune Weapon. I'm pretty sure it just gives you haste. Don't think it gives you any strength. And this is the scenario where I'm like, oh man, wow, that sucks. This is the scenario I'm like, man, Frost can be really good. One thing to just kind of keep track here, never mind, it's over. I was going to say, keep track of the Frost Fever damage in this kind of high AoE group, because a lot of my damage would just be Frost Fever. You'll see it just ticking still for about 7,000 each hit. There are 7,000 with 3 targets, so again, about 2,000 average hit. Going over the damage, just to recap. Like I said previously in this whole fucking battleground, Frost Fever makes up 25% of our damage. Doesn't agree with the class fantasy. Frost shouldn't have high damaging over time abilities. It should have damaging over time abilities through Frost Fever, but it shouldn't be so reliant on it that it does 25% of our damage. This is where I'd suggest decreasing the Frost Fever damage, increasing Frost Strike and Obliterate damage, and this would also impact PvE players pretty well. It would make them do more viable single target DPS. Outside of that, auto attack is obviously going to be very high, and then Obliterate. And then Frost Strike's just down there, but yeah, we have 4 buttons. Not a big shocker. Anyway, that's Frost Death Knight. If you guys like it, subscribe, comment, description, bell thing. I'll see you guys next time.